Hey everyone, today we're going to tackle a common issue that many of you are facing, which is bloating. And I'm going to show you how some foods that are considered healthy may actually be the trigger for your gut issues. Many of our clients come to us and they're struggling with bloating after meals, bloating that gets worse throughout the day, and they're confused as to why, because even when they eat healthier foods, they still get bloated, or they have constipation, or they have diarrhea. They know that they need to eat healthier to lose weight, but whenever they do, their gut symptoms either don't improve or they get worse. So they're in this seemingly endless cycle of wanting to lose weight, eating healthier, feeling worse, and then giving up. And it's a vicious cycle that they end up being stuck in. And normally what they do is they try to take a probiotic or do some sort of cleanse, but it doesn't often work because it's not solving the real problem. For example, if you have a bacterial overgrowth, adding a probiotic is the exact opposite of what we need to do. You wouldn't want to add more bacteria, which is what a probiotic is, to an overgrowth of bacteria. It would actually make the problem worse. What we have to do is we have to figure out why you're having bloating and gut issues to begin with. And if your bloating gets worse throughout the day, or it seems to get worse when you eat more foods like vegetables, protein, fiber, then we need to get rid of the underlying issue that is making you sensitive to those foods. What most people don't realize is that the food is not necessarily the problem. It's just the trigger. The problem is that something is going on inside of the gut. It might be leaky gut, bacterial overgrowth, parasites, fungal infections. There are a number of possibilities. And anything that you do that isn't related to eliminating that core problem is like duct taping your bumper back to your car after a car accident. Sure, it may stick on there for a while, but eventually you need to solve the problem for good and get a new bumper because it's going to fall off again. Now, the most common of the gut issues that we see is something called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And SIBO accounts for up to 70% of IBS cases in the US. So a lot of IBS is really just SIBO at the root. And with SIBO, we see things like chronic fatigue, bloating that gets worse throughout the day, constipation or diarrhea, and the inability to lose weight. You also notice sensitivity to a category of foods called FODMAPs. FODMAPs are fermentable sugars. You may have heard of things like lactose or fructose. Those are FODMAPs. And they're commonly found in dairy products, processed carbohydrates, but also in a lot of healthy food like cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and garlic and onions, right? Those are high in FODMAPs and could be the trigger. And a lot of those foods that are considered healthy are triggering gut issues for many people. But simply eliminating them forever is not a realistic solution, and it won't actually solve the problem. You'll find FODMAPs everywhere. You can't just get rid of them. You should eliminate them for a period of time, but it's not sustainable as a permanent solution. What you have to do is kill off the bacterial overgrowth while you are eliminating FODMAPs. Because the FODMAPs are essentially the fuel. SIBO feeds off of FODMAPs, and the byproduct of that is methane gas, which is what causes bloating and constipation. So when we eliminate FODMAPs, we're removing the trigger. Then we have to go in with supplementation and actually kill off the bacteria. The most well-researched supplement to do that is called berberine, and we use it all the time. And that is phase one of any good gut healing protocol. It is killing the source of the problem. Then in phase two, you can do different things. You can improve motility, which is making your bowel moves more regularly, feed the healthy bacteria in your gut and restore balance, repair any damage of the intestinal wall, and reduce inflammation, right? Those things can happen secondarily, but you have to get step one right. And if you don't get step one right, the rest won't matter. You might have success for a little while, but if the root problem is still hanging out in the gut, your symptoms are going to come back eventually, just like your bumper is going to fall off eventually. Now, many of my clients have been able to permanently eliminate their bloating and gut issues, ultimately making it easier for them to lose 20 more pounds simply by attacking SIBO and using the process that I just outlined. Of course, if you don't have SIBO, then this wouldn't work. You may need a slightly different protocol depending on what's going on in your gut. And the only way to really figure out what you have to do is to go through comprehensive testing to look for intestinal inflammation, potential for dysbiosis, malabsorption, infections. Maybe you do have SIBO. We have to test for it to figure out if that's really the case. Otherwise, we're just playing the guessing game. So if you're struggling with bloating or other gut issues and you want to get to the bottom of it, I'd love to see if I can help. Just reach out to me on Instagram. I dropped the link to my messenger inbox in the description below. All you have to do is hit that link and tell me a little bit about what's going on, and I'll ask a few questions to see if I can guide you in the right direction. And don't forget to subscribe here for more insights like this. Thanks for watching. Remember, we got to kill the problem at its source. Don't just mask it with random probiotics and cleanses, elimination diets, and supplements. Get to the source of the problem, kill it. All right, I'll catch you in the next one.